Les, big Evertonian, good morning. How are you?
Morning, boys. Listen, whether he's ashamed or not, I'm not renewing my season ticket, and it's as simple as that. The people at Everton don't understand Everton, and they can have truckloads of money. They can take the money back to wherever it come from. I'm not interested. Everton is Everton Football Club, and Rafa Benitez has got one agenda, and that's Rafa Benitez. And I don't care what anybody says to me. My mind will not be changed on that. And I'll tell you what them people did when they put the thing outside his house, we know where you live, don't sign. That was a disgusting thing to do. And obviously, I don't condone that in any way, shape or form. But the feelings run so deep. I feel like I'm getting divorced at the moment, and people find it funny and everything. But my heart's breaking because I won't be going and watching Everton, which has been my love.
But what is that? Is that simply because of his relationship with Liverpool, Les?
It's simply because not just because of that, because of just how he is as a person. I just don't trust him. And when Ancelotti came to Everton, I said that's a terrible appointment because Carlo Ancelotti doesn't know the Premier League and he doesn't understand what we need at this moment in time. The sensible appointment is all right. People coming in with all money who want Everton to be this Hollywood thing and that. We're not a Hollywood team. We need someone to come in who understands the Premier League and get down to basics.
Who would that be, Les? Who would that be?
For me, honestly, I would have Graham Potter myself. That's my own personal opinion because he understands players. And the problem is, it's not just the management. For the last 15 years, the amount of money, Simon, that we've spent is disgusting. We're up in the top four for what we've spent.
I know you are.
But we've spent money on players that don't understand Everton. I'd rather go back to 94, when we've got players fighting for survival on the last day of the season. But they cared and they loved the club. At the moment, the only thing that people seem to love is themselves and the glory of being involved in the Premier League. And that's not what it's about for me.
Les, regardless of how they do, will you come back on, say, midway through the season and speak to us?
No. Of course I'll come back on, but you know what? One of my loves of my life as well is Duncan Ferguson, and I'll tell you what, Simon and Jim, when I come back on halfway through the season, Benitez won't be there, or Duncan Ferguson won't be there, and just remember what I said to you, and how I said it to you.
Everything's recorded, mate. We'll keep that. Les, thank you very much indeed. Les, more than entitled to his opinion. This is why we do this. 08717 223344. Gary, good morning. Big Evertonian. You heard Farhad. He spoke to me earlier. What's your take on it?
My take is if I can just switch to Les, who's just been on there. Part of what Les has said, I get his passion, but I'm embarrassed for supporters like Les. I've been arguing with very good friends of mine who are season ticket holders over the last 24, 48 hours since the Benitez thing became reality. These supporters who are saying they're not going to the game and they're giving the season tickets up are an embarrassment in my estimation. Very simply, they're letting their infantile hatred of everything Liverpool come before their support of their football team. A football team who is steeped in history more than any other football team on this planet, by the way. The love should be for the team, not for a custodian like a football player or a manager who comes in, is there briefly and leaves. Every single supporter should get behind Rafa Benitez, regardless of his past. Simple as.
You know me, Gary, I would agree with you on that because I reckon it's been an exhaustive process. And let me tell you, Simon, if anything was in that process regarding Benitez that Mashiri didn't like, he wouldn't have appointed him.
Look, I mean, the bottom line is that every fan has a right to have a point of view, and you can't suggest, and neither did I at any time during my time at Palace, suggest that supporters don't have a right to a point of view. You can't demand their emotional investment in your football club and then expect them to be like proles going with every single decision you make. I do think the decision has been made, so it's incumbent upon Everton fans now to get behind the team and the club and to put their reservations to one side. If Benitez fails, then they can all come up and turn around and say, well, I told you so. He wasn't the right person for the job. And by the way, I loathed him because of his Liverpool connections. And as Les said, he sort of concurs with my vantage point that I think that Benitez is all about Benitez. But to boycott your club, I think, is cutting your own nose off to spite your face. And I think that's a bit silly.
It's taking it too far. Simon, Mark Dolman, I'm coming to you, Mark, another Mark, but Mark Dolman sent a message in. Jim, all managers throw their toys out the pram at some stage when they don't get what they want. I don't see Simon's point.
No, that's not
Rafa.
That's not the point. The point is that everyone throws their toys out. It's about how you manage that situation. You don't back channel your owner. You don't go through the press, and you don't become divisive and disingenuous and galvanise the fan base against the owners of a football club just because it suits your particular agenda.
Yeah.
You demand respect from your players. You command and demand and expect it. But when you don't get what you want, you behave in a certain way. And I think it's wrong. I think a football club is the sum of all its parts. Chairman, manager, and players should all be together. And everyone, when a chairman doesn't get what he wants or doesn't get the performance he wants, he doesn't run around throwing his toys out the pan. More often than not, he backs his manager and has to endure it until he has to fire him and pay him.
Simon, here's another Mark, big Evertonian. This Mark, good morning to you, my friend. talkSPORT has brought you Mashiri this morning. What's your take on Rafa getting the job, Mark?
Morning, Jim. Morning, Simon.
Good morning.
I was surprised, but then, Simon says it regularly. Nothing should surprise us in football anymore. Recruiting a football manager is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. Look at the managers that we've had. We've got Martinez, who's the manager of the world's best football team, Belgium. You've got Koeman, who's the manager of Barcelona, and Ancelotti's gone back to Real Madrid, all ex-Everton managers. So it's, and when we had Martinez come, he provided the best, the best 2 years of that I've had in the last sort of 20. But unfortunately, the Everton fans just turned too quickly on him, and it's disappointing to hear fans like Les not really grasp the reality of the Premier League anymore. The players and the managers, they're not the supporters. They're not the ones that are going to give up their, that fight, like Duncan Ferguson did. Those players are in the past. We just have to accept that this is how the world works, and this is, we've got to support our club. And
are you excited at the prospect of Benitez going in there with the outlook that he's obviously shown to Mashiri?
I am. Do you know what? I am, Jim, because, one thing he is he's a tactical genius. You speak to all the other players. He doesn't get too emotionally attached, which is great, actually, because, they can be friends, but we want somebody who comes in there and really understands the game, understands the positions, understands the players. I'd be the world's worst football manager. I don't really understand all the tactics and stuff. I'd go in there for the atmosphere.
No, I would be, Mark.
But, the thing about Goodison is, it's the best place to be when it's rocking, but
yes.
Also, referees have said it's the most intimidating place for anybody when it's not working. And it's just, like Les said, and Gary was, I agree with what Gary says. When you're at Goodison and things are going well, that's where we all want to be. What I don't want to be is in a place where we don't support the managers and the booing and the arguing amongst
Absolutely.
fans. It's not healthy or conducive.
Mark, thanks so much for your call. More calls coming in on this. We heard from Fahad Mashiri exclusively this morning. You'll hear more from him. Rafa is in, so what now? Liverpool passed? Yes, of course. But he says he's going to show dedication like never before. 08717 223344 810 89.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.